Hello and welcome back to the Hardworking Man Podcast. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Heath, and if you're watching this on YouTube on the Hardworking Man channel, be sure to head over to Hardworking Man Podcast, our new channel where all of our podcasts are going to be, because like I said in last week, soon they're not going to be on this channel at all. So if you enjoy these podcasts, which we know a lot of you do, make sure to head over to Hardworking Man Podcast channel and subscribe there, because that's where they're going to be at. The Hardworking Man channel will be all of our regular videos that we bring to you all the time doing outdoor work, but the podcasts are only going to be on the podcast channel here in a couple more weeks.
Right, and if you don't know how to subscribe, you have to make sure you're signed in to your Google account, because YouTube and Google are tied together, and you can't subscribe, you can't comment, you can't do anything on YouTube unless you're signed in to your Google account. So do that first.
If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music or any of those things, nothing's going to change. They'll all be there still, uploaded weekly, probably on Sundays when we get them done on time. And if not, it'll be maybe Monday or Tuesday or maybe next Sunday.
You know what? Keep you guessing, so you just don't ever know.
When we started, we're like, we're going to have a set time and a set day and we're going to get this done. And that's our goals a lot of times, but a lot of times we don't meet our goals because we're busy and we're procrastinators, like I said last week.
If you know us, you know we just fly by the seat of our pants for basically anything, which usually works out. And I mean, we have spring break coming up. This is the first year that Heath actually has off that week from work. He hasn't in 15 years been able to get spring break week off work. So we've never taken our kids anywhere on vacation for the week, like as a family. I've taken them.
Well, you can't say never. We went to Myrtle Beach.
On spring break.
Yeah, it was spring break.
No.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was not.
It was our spring break.
It was not spring break. That was in May.
Well, what would that be called then?
That was just a random took kids out of school for a week. That was not spring break.
Well, it was our spring break because I had a week off and we went to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, you don't even know. This is the fun part about Heath. He has no idea when anything's happening.
I just do things.
Kids in school.
You don't need to know things.
So we've never gone on spring break. So our kids have always been the ones that are like watching everybody go to all their fun vacations, and here we sit in cold Michigan. I have taken them over to the other side of the state to visit family, but it's still cold. It's not, as fun as going somewhere warm. So this year, we're going somewhere warm. Florida. We're going to visit Megan, and we don't have anywhere booked yet. And this is...
We had somewhere booked for a minute.
This is in 3 weeks.
Until Rachel read the reviews.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was like... I hate planning vacations.
I don't plan vacations.
He doesn't, which is probably why I hate it, because I have no input. I have no help. I have nobody to even, I bounce ideas. Like, what do you want to do? I don't know.
I don't want to go to Florida. That's what I want to do. Florida's not my jam. I don't like beaches. I don't like swimming. I don't like the sun. Okay, I like the sun, but I'd rather go to the mountains. I'd rather go to Kentucky or Tennessee or somewhere like that, but... Florida's where you go for spring break.
We want to go visit Megan.
We're going. And my daughter's there. If my daughter wasn't there, I would probably veto it and we'd go somewhere else. But
well, I don't want to. The beauty of being able to go is we haven't had. I mean, it's sunny out now, but we haven't had sun in months. Like, it just feeds your soul to be able to have some sun on your face, have it be warm, see the different scenery. I'm not looking forward to the drive whatsoever. The drive is.
That van is going to make it better, though. The Hardworking Man tour van is awesome for these road trips. It makes them way more enjoyable.
It will make it better, but so, I mean, most people book their spring break, last year. And we're going in 3 weeks. And
Rachel's talking to the kids, like, what do you guys want to do? And Rachel's like, let's go kayaking or tubing. And Zach is like, are you crazy? We're going to be in Florida. We'll get eaten by gators and snakes and boa constrictors.
He says, I'm not going in Florida water.
He said he might dip his toe in the ocean.
So we're looking for a place with a pool.
And we found one. It had a beautiful pool, with a nice
resort.
It had an island and waterfalls, all this stuff. It was awesome.
Tennis
courts, pickleball, golf course.
It looked like a lot of fun.
Huge, awesome pool, a gym, everything you could want. And so Rachel booked it. I was like, that works for me. Looks nice. And then she got further into the reading and found out that there's no place to park. You have to valet, and the valets don't answer their phone, so you have to walk to the office. It's a 30-minute walk to get your car. And you can't use the pool, and you can't use the gym.
No access,
and you
period.
can't, why do you advertise all this stuff and show it all if you're not allowed to use it? What do you even have it for?
Because it's a VRBO. It's like a privately owned condo in a resort. So there are guests who go and book through the resort, and they're the ones who can use all the amenities. But those who own private condos have no access to those amenities.
Why would you want to own one?
But it's advertised in the listing. It shows the pool, and it shows the tennis courts, and it talks about the golf and the gym, and like everything is so. It was just terrible. Plus, I happened to find Yelp reviews.
After I
booked. I was looking for things to do in the area, and then the reviews for the actual resort were like, this is terrible. There's cockroaches, mold. Smells like urine.
Smoke and urine.
Not clean. No one cleans
wow,
it.
This is great. We're going to drive 24 hours to live in filth.
And have no pool. So I tried to cancel. It was kind of a headache. I had a total freak out moment because I had that day to cancel, like the day I booked, or you only got 50% back. And I was like, the heck, I'm only getting 50% back on this for what you're offering me. So Heath managed to get through, and we did get our money back. So
well, most of it. We lost a $125 VRBO fee that for some reason they're keeping for us doing nothing.
Well, I didn't look into maybe getting that back,
well,
so I'll have to look into that. So now we're back to square one. We have nothing booked. If anybody has any ideas, we want to stay like in the Tampa-ish area, not like, an hour maybe from there. Like you don't have to be on the beach, just somewhere around that area. So I've spent so many hours looking for places to stay, and it just gives me a headache, and I just hate it.
Seeing how I roll, I don't book anything. I just drive until I'm someplace I want to be, and then I find a spot. Like, I don't stress about any of this. Rachel's like, what are we going to do? We got to look this up. We got to book this. We got to book that. What are we going to do? I just get places and figure it out when I get there. Well, and I don't think I've ever gotten somewhere and not been able to find a place. Well, I've never had to sleep in the van down by the river.
Okay, well, and here's why I try to book, because I want to try to find a place that's reasonably priced. If you wait and you just find a spot, you're going to pay $250 a night for somewhere. If I had booked it, we could have paid $100 a night.
Not if we bring the tent.
So that's why I get stressed. Yeah, he thinks we're just going to bring a tent and just pop up somewhere and have the best day of our lives. And no one else wants to sleep in a tent anywhere, especially Florida. You think them snakes are not crawling in?
No, you zip the door shut. How they going to get in? They're huge. They can't get through the door.
I don't know why you always want a tent camp.
Man, it saves money.
I don't know.
You spend the money on other stuff like good dinners.
It's not any fun for anyone but you.
I want to go deep sea fishing. We could spend the money on deep sea fishing instead of on staying in cockroach urine houses.
I'm trying to find a cheap-ish place to stay. It's just, that's why I'm scouring. I'm excited to go see Megan. I want to go right now. I don't want to wait another month, but Heath doesn't want to lose me for a couple days.
I can't lose you for a couple days. What would we do? I'm at work. The kids are at sports. Like, sports, I would say sports are wrapping up, but it's not. There's a hot second in between seasons, which there's not even really a break because we got Zach still wrestling. Nate's done for the year, but another kid on our team made it to states. We always go watch and support him. It's a lot of fun. You get to see, what it's all about, how getting there. Nate's making it next year, so he'll get to see it a year ahead of time again to see what it's going to be like next year when he's there. Because that kid, he's been going to the school early in the morning, working out. When the teacher he's supposed to meet there doesn't show up, he just comes home and works out. Or
runs the other around morning, the track in 20 degrees.
It was 20 degrees and the teacher wasn't able to make it. And so Nate goes, so I just decided to go run. And he ran 5 miles in 20 degrees at 5 in the morning because he went to work out and nobody was there. So he just got on the track and started running. He goes, once I got to 3 miles, I figured might as well do going. 5.
Sounds like Forrest Gump.
He took his shirt off too, he goes, but then my arms got numb, so he had to put his shirt back on. So I'm surprised we didn't see on the city Facebook page of some weirdo running around the track with no shirt on at 5 in the morning.
No, those kids though, the cross country kids run all around town and they don't have shirts on, and even in this cold, they're nuts.
Yeah, I get hot. I wouldn't. I mean, if I was running, I don't run unless someone's chasing me. But when I do run, I don't mind running. Like, I can get in running shape pretty quick. I'm sure the older I get, the longer it'll take me to get there. But I could go from not running to running 5, 6, 7 miles in a couple of weeks once I get going. But like I said, I'm sure the older I get, the longer it'll take me to get there.
Remember
but
that
I'm
time?
still faster than all my kids. So until one of them can beat me, I mean, what do I really got to work for?
He says that, but no one has even raced him.
Because they don't dare. They ain't going to challenge this.
Faster.
Once I get going, I'm moving.
Remember that time where you at the golf outing and you texted me and said you ran? You went running, and I said, "Well, who's chasing you?"
I went with my buddy to a golf outing, and he's like, "Come on, let's go run." I was like, "Yeah, I would, but I didn't bring any running shoes." He's like, "I got an extra pair." I'm like, "Yeah, well, they probably don't fit." And he's like, "Oh, they'll be close enough." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't really need to run," but he convinced me to go running. So this dude trains every day. And I'm like, whatever, let's go run. I made it like a mile or a mile and a half, and I'm like, at his pace, mind you. And then I'm like, I'm tired, I'm gassing. I'm like, I gotta walk for a minute. So he's like, oh, I'll wait with you. So he just starts doing push-ups and burpees while I'm just gasping for air. He's like, just let me know when you're ready and we'll start running again. I'm like, thanks a lot, jerk. But yeah, I text Rachel. I was like about to go for a run, and her response was, why? Who's chasing you? Like, if someone ain't chasing me, there ain't no need to run unless you're trying to catch somebody.
Well, that's always what you do. And you're like, I'm gonna start working out again. And then you start running. And we're like, I thought you wanted to lift weights. And you're like, well, I got to run first.
I got to get in shape. I started lifting weights again. I got to do something. I should be stretching probably. My flexibility has gone to 0.
Well, mobility is the biggest thing that as you age, you lose. This guy, when I first started dating him.
That's how I got her. Flexibility.
No, it was what they now call a major ick.
Yeah, call it that.
They were like, show him what you can do, Heath. Then he like lays on his back on the floor and sticks his legs over his head. And I was like.
I was flexible little guy.
I'm like, well, that's interesting.
Now I can barely put my own dang socks on.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed. I was like, that's weird. Why would you do? I think we have a picture
That's
of you
probably
doing
why
that.
I don't stretch anymore, because you made fun of me.
Oh, I didn't make fun of you. I kept those feelings to myself at that point.
Oh, I could read it in you.
Right. So, mobility.
I thought it
Mobility
was
is
cool.
huge. As you age, that's what goes. That's what makes people, that's how you get injured. And, you got to keep your core strong. That's literally people who have back issues. It's because their core is weak. And then you get, I
try to do leg workouts. Like, I got a decent core. It's pretty thick.
Get 'em.
My hamstrings just quit. I don't know at what age, but they're like, yeah, whatever, I'm done with this. Like, my hamstrings just they don't want to play anymore. If I try to do lunges or squats or anything, they're like, they're done.
Yeah. Things that aren't
matter.
hamstring dominant workouts, he gets.
And then they all make fun of me like it's my choice. Like, I decided for my hamstrings to quit. And then they're like, look at Dad, he's on the floor.
Oh, come on. Anytime you see like a middle-aged man run, you're like, watch out for your hamstrings. It's a joke. Because it's what happens. And why? Because you don't continue your mobility.
I need to stretch them for sure.
Like Tom Brady, he said the reason why he could continue to play into his, how old was he when he retired? He was 40, wasn't he?
40-something.
Yeah.
There's people that are just freaks.
No,
man.
but he focused on, he did yoga,
Yoga's the worst. I don't know who would ever do
mobility.
yoga. I've done yoga before, like on P90X. Like, man, that just isn't fun. Like, why would you? I'd rather just be able to not put my socks on.
No, that's what he attributes a lot of that. Keeping your body in good shape is doing your stretching and your mobility work.
Hey, even when I got my job, like, I had to do some training and some tests, and I was super flexible then, and that was only 15 years ago. So somewhere in the last 15 years, my muscles probably just got big. The bigger you are, the harder it is to be flexible. So that's probably, it's a trade-off. You can't win them all,
That's not true. I see some big people who can do really good stretching.
Yeah, like 1 in a million.
It's a choice. You got to choose. It doesn't take long.
But can they do straight leg pull-ups?
Oh, yeah. Just wait. He's determined to put this in a video just to show
guys
all
at
of
work
you.
said I can't. So one day Rachel's watching Instagram, right? And we're sitting up there and she's like, oh, I wish someone in my family could do this. And it was some guy doing straight leg pull-ups, like with his legs straight out and just doing some pull-ups. And she's like, I wish somebody in my family could do this, referring to me. I'm that somebody. And I was like, I was having an ice cold beverage, and I was like, here, hold my drink. I'll go do some right now. And I went, and I think I did 7 of them, like nothing, just cranked them out. And the kids are like, does Dad work out at night? Like, how does he do that? Because none of them can do any. Like, I
They
don't know
can
why.
now.
I can just do them. Yeah, Nate now, soon he's going to take the lead because he's driven and he wants to be able to
And
do more than me.
and everybody in this family is a little competitive.
Oh yeah. But kids on the wrestling team, kids that are pound for pound way stronger than I've ever been. They can do like 0 or
Oh, yeah.
1 or 2.
Well, we had Joe's, like, all of his, like, college buddies were over, and
Yeah, these are college
athletes, and we're like,
0.
how many can you do?
Maybe 1.
They were struggling. They were trying. They saw him do them.
I'm in my blue jeans with some work
They're
boots
like,
on and
"What?"
just pumping them out.
They're like, how can he do that? So they hopped on and tried, and they couldn't. They were like, what the heck?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I can do them. I think it's from doing firewood. It's back muscles.
It is
You're picking
not
up
from
that.
doing
It is, man. Us firewood guys are
firewood.
strong. That's why there's a community full of us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so he's determined we're putting this in a video.
Well, because guys at work the other day, it came up again. And I was like, I can do straight leg pull-ups. And they're like, what's that? And I told them. And they're like, yeah, right. You can't do 1 regular pull-up. I was like, I'll put it in a video for you there. So I got to get it in one, make them watch it, and see that I can do them.
I can't even do a regular pull-up, so you put me to shame.
Well, a lot of women can't. A lot of people can't do pull-ups. I don't know why. I've just always been able to do them. You guys are looking at a presidential fitness blue ribbon winner when I was in middle school. I won the President's Award.
Did they do that in other states? Was it just
I
Michigan?
think, I mean, it's the president.
I know. I thought it had to be nationwide.
I
right?
thought it was a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they even do it anymore? I don't think
I
they
don't
do.
know. They do like a pacer test, which I didn't ever do that in school.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what, it was like a presidential fitness award or something.
It was in gym
and
class
in gym
every
class,
year.
everyone had to do it. And you do like pull-ups and crunches and push-ups and a run and a shuttle run and a long jump. Like there was a bunch of stuff. And if you scored high enough, you got the Presidential Fitness Award. And I won that bad boy. I won it pretty easily.
Yeah, what was it? Just on a piece of paper, though?
Well, I don't know what it was. I don't have it anymore. I don't keep stuff like that. Everything.
Your mom keeps that stuff.
My mom has it.
It's probably in a box somewhere.
Like, I don't know. It's just, some people are nostalgic, I guess.
Sentimental.
I'm not. Sentimental, whatever you want to call it. Like, my college degrees, my awards from the military, from my current job, from anything I've ever done, they're in a Rubbermaid tub in the basement. Like,
No, he doesn't
I
even
don't
want to
have
hang
them up
anything on the wall.
I don't frame anything
Wins
or hang
medals,
it.
doesn't
or,
care.
Like, I don't know. I give stuff to the kids if it's an award that's something they might like. It's just not my jam. I don't get it. Maybe if we hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and we get that little thing, I'll take a picture with it and then put it in the tub in the basement.
I'm not hanging it in the living room.
Now I want it hung in the living room.
Oh, gosh.
Right. I do. You know what I do hang? I hang the big deer that I shoot. I like
that's
to put
what he
those
cares
up.
about is the
That's
deer.
because I work so hard for those.
Well,
man.
and you also now have your grandpa's, one of his mounts hanging up.
No, that's my great-grandpa's.
Oh,
That thing is almost 100 years old. So my goal was, when I got my great-grandpa's biggest deer mount, I was like, you know what? My grandpa had a nice big deer. There was a newspaper article with it and everything. And when I was a kid, and we'd go up to the Upper Peninsula a couple times a year, and it was hanging up there by the telephone. The telephone was one, mind you, that you pick up and you could hear other people talking. They called it a party line. So you could just pick up and listen to other people's conversations. If you wanted to talk to someone, you had to like tell them who you wanted to call or something. But I remember the telephone. I remember my grandpa's rack, and I'd climb up on the chair and I'd count the points, and I would read the newspaper article. And my grandpa also had a Bigfoot print. Like, this was no joke, a Bigfoot print. This thing, so the story goes, my grandpa in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, farm boy, he was up there working, and he went up by a tree and he took a nap under the tree. And when he woke up, there was a footprint that walked past him in the dirt, and it was 13 inches wide, and I want to say like 20 some inches long. Looked like a human footprint. And he thought one of his brothers was messing with him, like whatever. But he got curious enough that he called the college up there, Lake Superior State University, and they sent some people out, and they did tests on the dirt and whatever, like how compacted it was. And I believe they came up with the fact that it weighed over 1,300 pounds, like how compacted the soil was. Like, that's Bigfoot, man. 13 inches wide, over 1,300 pounds. Like, you can't do that as a person with some fake shoes on. But so he took a plaster mold of it. So when I'd go up to the UP, I'd look at the deer rack and I'd look at the Bigfoot print. one of my uncles got the Bigfoot print, and another one of my uncles got the deer rack. Well, the uncle who got the deer rack has two daughters who don't like hunting. They're anti-hunters. They want nothing to do with it. So when I got my great-grandpa's rack, I was like, I want grandpa's rack. And then after grandpa's rack, I would take my dad's biggest rack, and then I would put my biggest deer with it, and I would hand that down to my son. And he could put his biggest deer with it. Like, we would have hundreds of years worth of biggest deer that were taken. And I thought that would be pretty cool. But my uncle who inherited my grandpa's rack decided that he was either going to give it to one of my other uncles, or what he ended up doing was they have a deer camp now up on their property up there, my dad and a few of his brothers, and he put it in there, and he said that's where he wants it to stay. So I won't be getting that one, so my plan's foiled.
Yeah, there goes our decorations.
Yes, Rachel was pretty disappointed because she needed another deer rack up there, but I might go up there and steal it. You never know. I know where it's at. I know how to get in. It might come up missing.
You know what? Just like get some big old Bigfoot shoe print so they'll think Bigfoot,
they'll think Bigfoot took that thing. Bigfoot's back.
It just carries some weight on your back, so it feels like.
I do wonder, like, how many of my grandpa's stories are true? Like, is this stuff that really happened, or is this stuff that my parents made up? Because they said my grandpa caught a bear. He caught a bear and kept it as a pet because it was out there, and he seen it, and he took a wash tub and threw it over this bear cub, and then he took it and put a collar on it, and they had this pet bear for a while. Like,
there's a lot of stories about your grandma and grandpa up in the UP.
Oh, man, they're crazy
I'm
stories,
like,
too.
wow, I would have liked to meet them because that would have been funny. Like, your mom has some stories about a lot, like you kids like playing out on the frozen pond.
Oh, yeah, we'd go play out on the pond. Maybe this is where my no fear comes from. I'll do anything, and I don't
remember
care.
Your mom was like, is it safe?
And no one checked the pond.
No, and grandma goes, well, we'll know if they fall through.
Yeah, if they die, we'll know they shouldn't have been out there. Like, that's the mentality it was, man.
She had 11 kids, I
right?
guess.
You got a few to spare.
I don't know. Your mom was always like, what?
Oh, my mom was terrified. She was terrified going up there because we'd go ride four-wheelers and play out in the pond.
But they just gave you guns and you went and shot up the house that was out on the...
Well, we were older when we did that. My uncle...
What's older?
My uncle had a house where he grew up in that was abandoned. And so we'd go out there and, like, all the stuff was still in it. Like, the cupboards were full of all the canned vegetables, and there was a piano in there, and like, all this stuff was still in there.
Old
they
TVs.
just, at some point, they just up and left. And so it was starting to get run down and whatever. And so we went through first treasure hunting, like finding cool stuff and keeping whatever we found. And then we were up there with the little 22 rifle, and we're in there. And so we start shooting the old canned vegetables, and they're exploding. We're kids just having the time of our lives. We smashed a hole in the wall, and we were doing like the movie stuff where we're playing the piano, shooting it with 22, ding, ding, playing keys. Stupid stuff. We could have really got hurt, and we almost did one day because the old TV, it was an old console TV, and we're like, let's shoot the TV. And so, luckily, me being the smarter one out of all of my siblings, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen to that thing. Like, let's hide behind this door and shoot it. So we literally hid behind a door, and we stuck the gun around the door, and we shot that TV, and it's a good thing we did because that thing exploded. And a piece of glass that I swear was almost an inch thick stuck in the door that we were hiding behind. The whole room filled with some type of gas, and we all got stupid sick. So, probably not the best thing to be doing, but it's a memory that all of us, me, my sister, my brothers, we all have with us forever. Like, we would shoot stuff from outside of the house and have competitions like, all right, there's the bathroom. Let's see who can break the toilet. And we'd shoot through the wall until we heard the toilet shatter. Like, who doesn't do this stuff growing up, man?
Right.
So that stuff scared my mom. But that was just like, it's just kids being kids,
Right. They're like, just go. That's what kids did when they were told just go play and come back when it's dark. They're shooting houses
after we
up.
did all of this, and we leave, we're up there for a week or whatever, and some squatters moved into that house, and they cleaned up the whole place. They had a calendar hanging on the wall. They cleaned up everything. They started living in there. And so we got up there again, and our uncle says, hey, do you guys remember what you did to that house? And we're like, yeah. And he goes, could you go do it again? So we went there and we just tore that place up again to get the people. He wanted the people out of there. He didn't know who they were or anything like that. They weren't there, obviously, when we went there.
Hopefully they weren't there when you're shooting through to get the
No,
toilet.
we were very safety conscious house shooters. So we went in, we did our thing, and they came back in and cleaned it back up. So then my uncle just was like, you know what? He called the fire department. They went there and they burned it down for like a training or whatever. And now the people are gone. But that was a lot of fun. But that stuff scared my mom, because what are the kids doing? Like, I don't know. They're out on the four-wheeler shooting guns, like whatever. I remember one time me and my sister, I was 12 years old, I think, and my sister was 14. And we're in the UP. Like, it's the Upper Peninsula. It's different for people who don't know what it is up there.
It's a whole different game up there.
So we took my dad's car out for a drive, right? And so we're cruising. Mind you, when I'm 12 years old, I'm about 4 foot nothing, about 80 pounds, maybe. Can barely see 14. Over the steering wheel. Huh?
If you're 12, she's 14.
Yeah, that's what I said when I was 12. So we're driving, right, down Postma Road. It's our road. It's our road. We should be able to do what we want on it. It's literally named after my family. And I pull up to the stop sign. There shouldn't be anyone else out there. And who pulls up opposite of me? A sheriff. I'm like, we're going to jail. I thought we were going to jail. I'm terrified. I come to a complete stop. I look and I take off. He takes off. He waves. I wave to him. And I just keep going. We get back to my grandparents' house and we're like, oh my gosh, we just about went to jail. Like, we were out driving and the cop pulled up and we thought we were getting arrested. And my dad's like, oh, that was my cousin. Like, so yeah, so it was a different world and a different time up there, man. But yeah, that's why my mom was scared.
Right.
But big racks, Bigfoot, driving cars, shooting guns, like, that was my childhood. Maybe that's why I ain't right today.
I did not have those experiences.
No, that's why I'm so attractive to you now. I'm a wild man.
I just rode my bike over to the gas station, like through the woods, or the field across, not the gas station, the grocery store. We'd go get ice cream.
See, we weren't allowed to do that. We can go and shoot up houses and ride four-wheelers, but we had to give the neighbor kids money to go to the party store to get us candy because we weren't allowed to ride our bikes there. My parents thought it was dangerous.
Oh, man.
And then sometimes these neighbor kids would steal our money. They would say that someone took my money while I was there, and they'd keep our money, and then they'd have all this candy and pop, and we'd get nothing.
This was in Moline?
No, this was when we lived by Grand Rapids.
Oh, yeah. It probably was more dangerous there.
But so we had to trust these kids to take our money and go buy us stuff. And sometimes we'd get our candy and our pop, and sometimes we'd get nothing because they got robbed at the store, but they still got all their stuff.
See, I love the story of when your mom knew you had to move from there was because of you.
Oh, yeah, bring this up.
It was something about you with, you had, I don't know if it was...
Well, the neighbor kids weren't the greatest kids, Like, I got in fights from time to time and, like, whatever. And so you learn. When you're a little kid, you learn from the older neighbor kids, right? So I forget the exact story, but this is what made us have to move from that area. We were having family dinner. And my mom said, like, can you please pass the salt or something? And I said, get it yourself.
B word? You called his mom a B word.
I didn't know what I was saying.
How old were you?
I don't even know.
Was like
Probably
6.
like 6. I said, get it yourself. Because that's how the neighbor kids talk. So that is what made us move out of there.
Like, that's it.
Terrified.
We're done. Which, okay, knowing your family, people don't know Grand Rapids or West Michigan is very, very conservative. I mean, it's getting
you should never call your mom that.
No.
She just asked for the salt.
But
she didn't do nothing wrong.
for anybody to even say that, like,
oh, yeah,
in your family is unheard of. Like, you don't even say it.
I didn't even know what I was saying, but I remember that story.
I wasn't allowed to say the word crap growing up. That was like swear word.
Couldn't say that. I couldn't watch The Simpsons. I still ain't allowed to watch The Simpsons. The Smurfs. We couldn't watch none of that stuff.
They were bad.
There's probably stuff. Saturday Night Live, we'll have none of that. MTV, not in this house.
That's probably why those shows. I'm like, Saturday Night Live holds no appeal to me. Probably because it was never.
I wasn't allowed to watch it. I have no idea what it's even about. People at work all the time are talking about Saturday Night Live skits. Still today, I have no idea what they're talking about.
No, same. Well, and our kids complain. They laugh because they're like, you didn't let us watch Scooby-Doo. And I was like,
oh yeah, I couldn't watch Scooby-Doo either.
No, but like when we first moved over here to this town, but the kids across the street loved Scooby-Doo, like would watch it every day. And then our kids would be over there playing and they would be scared from it because there's always some like ghost or something. So then the kids were scared and I was like, you're not, no more Scooby-Doo then, because I don't want to have to deal with scared kids all the time. So that's why I said no Scooby-Doo.
I don't even know what I watched as a kid. I think golf. My dad would watch golf and I'm like, who would watch golf? This
Saturday
is so
morning.
boring.
You didn't watch Saturday morning?
I would watch Saturday morning cartoons. You know, you had like Wile E. Coyote and the mouse. Who's the mouse? Are you Speedy Gonzales? Like we could watch that stuff, and that was about.
Well, there was like Saturday morning cartoons
the
until noon, and then you had to get out and go find something to do with yourself.
Yeah, we'd just be out, man. Like I could talk for hours about what it was like growing up. When we moved away from the place where they taught me bad words to call my mom, we went to another place. We rented for a while, and we lived next to a cemetery. Like that was the greatest thing on earth, man. Acres and acres of bike riding paradise. Like
no one
other
else is
people
around.
were scared. Like we were out there riding bikes, going to the
gross.
back of the cemetery. There was a creek running through, and we'd catch crayfish and like swimming in the creek, like all this stuff. Like other people are like, weren't you scared of the cemetery? I'm like, scared of the cemetery? Like I didn't know. I'm a kid. It was pretty disrespectful, some of the stuff I did out there, but we weren't trying to be bad kids. We were just out there having fun. Like there's some tombstones that make sweet jumps, you know. Like
oh my god,
we didn't know. Like we were just out playing. That's what kids did. And so we went from there. Then we moved out into like a really rural area where in the town there was a meat market. There was a little teeny grocery store, which my dad's cousin owned the meat market and the little grocery store. And then there was a feed mill, a co-op, a grain mill. That was about it. And a barber shop and a bank. That was it. I just listed everything besides the post office. That was all we had. So like we would literally go in the grain house where it was just grain stored up in this building, and we would sled down that. We'd snowboard down it. We'd play in that stuff for hours, breathing in all the grain dust, like just living the best life. And then the meat market, they had ice cream and they had beef jerky. So we'd save up some money and we'd go and we'd be like, I need 37 cents worth of beef jerky. And they'd weigh it out on the scale and we'd get 37 cents worth of beef jerky. And my little brother went there once. He wanted ice cream. It was hot, right? So he goes there and he's like, I'll take a Superman ice cream. And they're like, 1 scoop or 2? And he goes, I'll take 2. So they double scoop him a Superman and they're like $1 or whatever it was. And he goes, well, too late now. And he turned and he walked out the door. But that's the problem when your dad's cousin owns the meat market, is they then call dad and they're like, hey, your son just came and stole ice cream cone from us. So my brother got in trouble for that. But that's where I grew up, you know, like out riding four-wheeler, shooting guns, surfing on grain hills, like living the dream.
Yes. No, and you had there was a train track through there.
Oh,
right?
yeah, the train track. I've crushed millions of pennies, and I put everything on that track trying to get the train to run it over. Again, I didn't know. I was just having fun as a kid.
Sounds like you had a great childhood.
It was a lot of fun. Riding bikes through the scales at the grain house, hitting sweet jumps in the cemetery.
Yeah, well, that was back before the days of everybody being overprogrammed with sports.
Sports and just video games, man. Parents talk to me all the time, like whether they see our kids on the channel or, you know, we're out doing work. And they're like, how do you get your kids to do that? All my kid does is play video games. And I was getting my hair cut the other day. And the lady's like, oh, you would be surprised how many people come in and they have gamer head. And I was like, gamer head? Like, what are you talking about? And kids and adults literally have an indentation in their skull from the headsets they wear while they're playing video games, because they wear them so much and it affects their haircuts. Like that just blew my mind that there's a thing called gamer head that deforms your skull.
You have CPAP head, probably.
I probably do have CPAP head, but I don't have gamer head. I ain't ever going to have gamer head.
No, yeah, that CPAP screws up your hair if you don't. Even if you shower, it's still like
anybody.
leaves
I'm lucky because I work with guys that the ones they wear, they literally will come into work and they got the lines in their face from their mask because they have to wear them so tight. So I don't get that, at least.
Yeah.
They'll have it almost all day, too, like just lines on their face. You can be like, I know what you got. You got a sleep apnea machine.
Yes. Well, I think we should wrap it up. We've been talking for a while.
Right. So I don't even know how we started this one, but we got into my childhood, and we'll have more about that because, man, I got some stuff.
Heath has a lot of funny stories.
It was a lot of fun growing up. And,
Right.
it was what it was, and it was a lot of fun. And I try to bring that into my kids, the stuff. I mean, not shooting up houses.
No.
Like a little safer, but I still let my kids drink from a garden hose or ride a bike without a helmet, And they do play a little bit of video games, but we try to get them outside as much as we can. I mean, we can get them outside as much as we want to because we're in charge. That's why
That's
you got
exactly
parents,
it. I'm like, you can't complain your kid plays too much video games because guess who's in charge?
Yeah, you own that video game and the power running it.
And the kid. You own the kid. Your mom doesn't like when we say that. We own our kids. But
we
guess
own our
what?
kids till they're 18.
We own
They're
our
mine.
kids.
I bought them.
I'm responsible for
They're
them.
going to do what I say.
I
Once they're
own you.
18, they can make their own decisions if they don't live in my house. But, and we let them, go make your decisions. We even let them make decisions when they're children, but they're guided decisions. So
Yeah, no. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you that tune in and subscribe and follow on the podcast channels. We love making these for you, and we love the feedback we get. So leave us a comment. Let us know if you have any fun stories or can
let
relate
us
to
know
anything.
the crazy stuff you did when you were a kid. I don't know that anyone else on here is going to have shot up a house, so I think I might have that one.
Right.
At least that you can talk about. Mine was legal. It was done with permission, so.
Right. It was a training exercise. All right.
But make sure to check out Hardworking Man Podcast on
Yes.
YouTube. And thanks for listening, guys. Have a great day.
A great week.
A great month.
We'll see you in a week.
Bye.
Goodbye.